Whereas other zombie games like Dying Light and Call of Duty Zombies focuses on serious plot lines and overly complicated puzzles, Killing Floor 2 focuses on pure, satisfying gameplay. If you're able to look past repetition and lack of storyline, I highly recommend buying this game. However, if you're still on the fence with buying this game, hopefully I can help you come to a decision. This is my review of Killing Floor 2.
Break time's over. Get back to work. More Zeds inbound.
I'm back, and I've got some new tricks.
Killing Floor 2 takes place after the events of the first game. The Zeds, clone military experiments created by Horizon Biotech, have spread from London, the same in the first game, to continental Europe, causing the collapse of civilization. Communication's gone, the government is non-existent, most people are dead, and the military is destroyed. Despite this, a motley group of civilian soldiers and mercenaries, as Tripwire describes them, have banded together to fight the Zeds with the assistance of privately funded bases. Whenever an outbreak happens, they are sent to the scene to eradicate the Zeds. That's the entire plot of Killing Floor 2, and not that far off from Killing Floor 1. For a game in which one of its bragging points is their gore system, one shouldn't expect a heavy, complicated plotline. For the most part, it's just there to justify why you should be causing Zeds to explode with a microwave gun. The part that bothers me about the storytelling of Killing Floor is that the entire plot of the game is found in the description section of the game's website, in the description section of the PlayStation Store, and Steam. Excluding the character descriptions, which isn't much by the way, the game never brings up anything related to the outbreak. I was expecting at the very least an opening cutscene to explain the world of Killing Floor 2 and give you a reason to shoot Zeds, but they don't give you that. Instead, when you build up the game, you are taken to the start menu of the game, where you're greeted by the face of one Zeds moving in slow motion. At least Left 4 Dead gives you an opening cutscene before sending you out to blow shit up. If you plan on playing on PS4 like me, don't expect visuals of Crysis 3 or The Order 1886 quality. When I first played this, I thought I was playing a PS3 game created in the middle of the PS3 life cycle, but Killing Floor 2 makes up for that. The art design looks great. Almost all the Zeds look distinct, although the three weakest Zeds look very similar if they're not within arm distance. The characters stand out even in crowds of Zeds, and each map looks distinct from each other. Furthermore, the environment changes. One map shifts from day to night throughout the match. There's environmental destruction, although it's minimum. If you shoot or hit a light, it will break and cast the affected area in darkness. Also, as cliche as it sounds, painting the town red is kind of literal in this game. Killing Zeds will leave the floor covered in their blood and body parts. Although they disappear after a while, it does add to the overall experience. The sound design is also great. Most Zeds have different sounds, like a siren that sounds appropriately annoying, almost to the point of wanting to mute my TV occasionally. The gun sounds amazing. Not only can I hear the difference among guns of different types, I can also tell the difference among guns of the same class. The soundtrack, on the other hand, is not that impressive. The soundtrack features various songs from metal bands, none that I heard of. I'm not a metalhead, but that's not my issue with the soundtrack. It's underwhelming. It does nothing to enhance the experience. It's just there, and that's barely. Even when I increase the value of the music and turn out everything else, I barely notice it when I am actively paying attention to it. Killing Floor 2 is what you would get if Call of Duty Zombies or Gears of War Horde mode became a standalone title. There's two modes, Survival and PvP Survival. In Survival, you and up to 5 other players battle an increasing amount of Zeds for multiple rounds. If you survive a set number of rounds, the match ends with a boss round where you fight one of 2 bosses. PvP Survival works the same way, except players control Zeds and try to kill the humans. The controls are standard. Right trigger to fire, left to aim, the usual. Unfortunately, there are only 4 control presets. This becomes a problem when switching weapons. When you switch weapons, you go from your highest tier weapon, usually your primary weapon, to your next highest tier weapon, and it keeps going until you reach your standard secondary pistol. then it returns to the first primary weapon. I'm fine with that. My problem is that when you want to go up the tier list or when you want to select a specific weapon, you need to first hold triangle, the default button, and press the directional buttons depending on if it's a primary, secondary, or melee. If you're going to have to do all that, why not just make directional buttons the weapon switching button, like in Uncharted? You're still going to have to take your hands off the movement stick. The melee combat is satisfactory. There are light attacks, hard attacks, blocking, and parrying, and the direction of the swing is determined by the character's movement rather than the camera's movement. It took me a while to figure that out. The swings have weight to it, especially the heavy attacks, making using melee weapons a satisfactory feeling, especially when you factor in the gore system in Z time. Tripwire's gore system is called MEAT, or Massive Evisceration and Trauma. With this system, Zeds have multiple points for dismemberment, 5 spots being located in the head. Therefore, when you shoot a Zed in the head, you see chunks of skull break off. Z time is a moment activated by a headshot or killing a bunch of Zeds at once. A sense the game in slow motion, allowing you to land headshots easier and create an overall cinematic experience. With the MEAT system and Z time, you feel like a badass while swinging a Zweihander. There are also classes in this game, 10 to be exact. Each one, except for Survivalist because it works as a jack of all trades, has a unique playstyle. Each class has passive bonuses that increase every time you level up that class. For example, the Gunslinger gets increased movement speed while the SWAT gets increased magazine size. Also, every 5 levels, classes unlock a role in the skill tree that affects the role of each class. Another example is that the left side of the Berserker skill tree makes and encourages players to play a tank role, while the right side of the tree encourages a DPS role. This, along with the fact that each class has weapons associated with it, meaning the weapons benefit from the passive bonuses and skills of that class, allow for different experiences when you are playing, and that's not even considering maps or different types of Zeds. There are 10 types of Zeds that you go against. Some are weak and easy to handle like the Sis, while others are tanky and powerful like the big brolic black guy with a chainsaw called the Scrake. Each one has different abilities, behaviors, and stats, encouraging and sometimes forcing you to have different strategies and priorities depending on the class and role you choose. The maps vary in size and openness. Certain classes are going to have an easier or harder time depending on the map. Let's take a look at the SWAT class and the Commander class. Both classes' role is to handle weaker Zeds so that your fragile, high damage dealing classes can focus on the tougher ones. If the map is a farm, which is a small map with plenty of open space, the Commander will be better because of the class' ability to use night vision, reveal invisible enemies, and see enemies' health. This partially negates the Zed's ability to ambush your team. The SWAT, however, will shine on the Catacomb map, which features many type corridors and chokeholds. The invisible Zeds won't be able to ambush your team as easily, allowing for the SWAT's high damage per second and stunning flash range to be fully utilized. While in normal difficulty, this stuff doesn't really matter, it becomes important when Zeds have new behaviors and abilities on harder difficulties. It's these detailed gameplay features where Killing Floor 2 shines the brightest. Killing Floor 2 does have microtransactions and a crafting system. It doesn't affect the game since you can only buy and craft cosmetics, although it can be annoying. There are loot crates that you randomly earn along with skins, occasionally at the end of matches, but in order to open the crates you need a key, which is something you have yet to earn. The craft system seems tacked on at the last minute since you need 10 coins, which you get from recycling skins, but you rarely earn a skin. I have yet to craft a single thing. Since it doesn't affect the quality of the game, it's not too much of a problem. If you like mindlessly shooting down Zeds or have a group of friends to play with, I recommend buying it immediately. Of course, if you can't look past the repetition, wait for the price to go down before buying Killing Floor 2. You'll also benefit from the added weapons, maps, and seasonal events that will be added in later on in the game's life cycle.